Today we've got a bonus video. We're going to take a look at California governor. We've got a poll here from Emerson that just came out today. This is a huge race. It's an open seat. It's a very crowded field, and we've got a ton of time to go. So let's see what we've got here from Emerson. It says Swalwell shakes up election for governor. He's a recent entry into this race, and he could be the front runner. So let's go down here and see what we've got. Now, this poll used 1,000 active registered voters. And keep in mind that California uses the top two primary. That means everybody's on the same ballot, and whichever two candidates get the most votes, they're going to go on to the general election. They could even be from the same party. Could be two Democrats, could theoretically even be two Republicans. It's not my preferred system, but that is what they use. So nobody's really running away with this according to Emerson. In first place, we've got Chad Bianco. He's a Republican. He's the Riverside County Sheriff, but he's only at 13%. Second place, we've got a tie. We've got 12% for Eric Swalwell and 12% for Steve Hilton, the other Republican candidate. Now after that, the other big name we've got is Katie Porter. She's at 11%. She was in the news about a month and a half ago where she kind of flopped during an interview. She always ran as kind of the populist outsider Democrat, but she also might have some kind of anger issues. I'm not sure if that's going to drag her down enough to keep her out of the top two, but she's definitely not any kind of a front runner. Now after that, it's pretty much down from there. You've got some familiar names here. Antonio Villaraigosa. You do have Tom Steyer, the progressive. He's coming in at 4%. He's extremely wealthy. So not sure if the deep pockets are going to get him into the top 2 or 3. Then it's Javier Becerra, and other is at 7%. But the biggest line here is on the bottom. 31% don't know who they're going to vote for. Republicans have a fantasy of 2 of them making it to the general election, shutting out the Dems. It's not impossible, but I can't really imagine that happening. The best I think they could do is coalesce around one candidate and make it to the general. So down here, we've got Democrats are split between Porter and Swalwell. That makes sense. Republicans split between Bianco and Hilton. And independents are undecided. Now what about Governor Gavin Newsom? His job approval rating is 47%, 39% disapprove. So he's +8. He's not looking terrible at the current moment. But if you want to know how much weight a Newsom endorsement has, 33% say it would make them more likely to vote for that candidate. Another 33% say it would make them less likely, and 35% say no difference. So not much sway there from the governor. Now here's the recent history of Newsom's approval. He was underwater here last April and in October of 24. But for most of 25, he's been above water by about mid-single digits. As far as favorability ratings go, Newsom is at 52%. And with the rest of the candidates, we've got a table here. Katie Porter is 30 favorable, 34 unfavorable. Swalwell, 24 to 23. Bianco, 21-17. Steve Hilton is 20-14. And Tom Steyer is 18-20. So kind of a lot of polarization here, especially with Porter. She's underwater by 4. But 37% don't know who she is, and then it's way up from there with the rest of the candidates. So it's still early. These people are trying to craft an image and make a name for themselves. The most important issue here is going to be the economy at 34%, then housing affordability at 25%. 7% of voters say the current state of the economy is excellent. 27% say good, 30% fair, and 36% say poor. 51% of voters think Newsom is most responsible for the current state of the economy in California. 27% say it's Trump. 5% say Biden. Another 5% say the Republicans in Congress. 12% say it's none of them. I would guess most of that falls along political lines. And then we've got deportations. 60% think mass deportations of undocumented/illegal immigrants in California are a bad thing. 40% think it's a good thing. That mostly lines up with the expected partisan breakdown of the state. And a little bit on 28 here. Gavin Newsom leads the Democratic primary with 36%. Pete Buttigieg is in second with 16%. AOC has 13%. Kamala Harris, remember her? She's down to 9%. It's hard for me to imagine Harris becoming a serious candidate for 28 when she can't even crack the top 3 in her own state. With the Republicans, Vance leads with 52%. Marco Rubio is at 11%. Now let's get back to the governor's race. Let's take a look at whatever polling we've got so far. So here we are on Wikipedia. Here's this Emerson poll we just took a look at. Now there's a couple other polls on here. This one is from the Becerra campaign, and this other one is connected to the Swalwell campaign. And then the other 2 are also from Emerson, so you can kind of track where things have been over the past few months. Now Emerson, I think, is a fairly reputable pollster. Nobody's going to be perfect. They're going to get criticism sometimes from both sides. But if the election were held today, you'd have Chad Bianco in the lead with 13%, then Steve Hilton and Eric Swalwell, one Democrat, tied to move on to the general election. Now these are some low percentages. There's no way this is how the race is actually going to pan out. The primary is not until June. This is going to be fluid, a lot of moving pieces. Other candidates might even hop into the race. Rick Caruso, that's a name people are talking about. But I think it's going to be mostly easy here for the Dems because they've got Trump in the White House. They've got somebody they view as the villain. Now, state politics is different. Maybe some voters are looking for a change. There are a lot of issues in this state that voters are not going to be thrilled by. But for them to actually cross over and go all the way to the Republican side, that's a whole nother story. Dems should be heavily favored here, but the margin could always narrow up. We saw what happened for president last time. But that was when Biden was in office. He was not popular, and that trickled down into the presidential race. But now that the power dynamics have shifted, Republicans probably know that they have almost no chance here. It could always be two Democrats that make it to the general. That's another possibility. We'll see what happens. But let's see what the markets have to say about who the current frontrunner is. Well, on Polymarket, we've got Eric Swalwell. He's at 40%. Tom Steyer, 18. Katie Porter is at 11. This all pretty much happened over the past couple of weeks. So Swalwell, maybe he's a good fit for this state, but to me he seems like kind of a more bland Gavin Newsom. I know most Republicans have almost zero interest in him whatsoever. So we'll see if his frontrunner status actually continues into the new year. And finally, on Predict It, this is kind of the same thing. Swalwell is at 38 cents. Here, Katie Porter is at 21. Steyer is at 16. Notice the Republican candidates, even though they're in the lead in the polling, they're not at all near the top here on the markets. Steve Hilton is at 4, Chad Bianco is at 2. So this is a very significant race. It's the biggest state. There's going to be a new governor after the next election. It's way too hard to predict what's going to happen. Again, Tom Steyer's got all the money, but I don't know if that's going to get him to the top. Katie Porter is damaged. I don't know if she's going to be able to get it done either. Swalwell, I don't think is a rock star candidate, but for right now, it looks like he's got the lead. We'll see if anything is going to change in this crucial race over the next few months. Maybe something big comes up, maybe somebody else gets into the race and shakes things up. But for right now, that's a look at what's going on here for California governor. So let me know in the comments, who do you think are going to be the top two that go on to the general? Is it really going to be Swalwell? What happened with Katie Porter? Can Tom Steyer buy his way into this race? And what about the Republicans? Are they going to get at least one candidate to the general? Who's it going to be? Is Rick Caruso going to get in? What do you think about any of this stuff? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.